Everyone, welcome to my round 2 wrap-up video in what was an interesting week of fantasy footy, and one that, if you had the right players, you would have posted a pretty decent score and probably would have skyrocketed up the rankings. So yeah, it was a pretty big round. For me, I scored 2063, which was about 50 more than I scored last week, but I still dropped about 6,000 spots in ranking from 12,000 to 18,000, so goes to show what a high scoring round it really was. And yeah, so a bit of a disappointing week for me. I still think my team is pretty solid. I think it was kind of the players that I didn't have this week which hurt. Some popular picks like James Short and Zach Butters that I didn't have kind of cost me, so I'm still pretty happy with my team. So now we'll go through my team this week, and first I'll revisit the trades that I made last week. First one was Justin McInerney to Daniel Rioli. Now, I didn't really want to get rid of Justin McInerney, but his injury forced my hand, and I kind of wanted to look for some value there in Dan Rioli. Save the coin. I didn't really want to pay up for any defenders at this stage that weren't really convincing, so I saved the coin and go Daniel Rioli, and then use that cash to fix up my bench. Mitch Owens traded out to Jason Horne-Francis, who I couldn't quite squeeze in round 1, so I fixed that up there. Now we'll look back at my team, starting from the defenders. Jack Crisp, 126. Boy, did he bounce back this week, and this is what he does. Jack Crisp, he can score 50 one week and then 125 the next, and I think it just goes to show that you got to ride out the bad scores that he posted, because you know just around the corner he's going to post a huge score. So good to see him bounce back this week, Jack Crisp. Lockie Whitfield, 88. He's had a real frustrating start to the season, you know. Just doesn't quite look himself, and he's not scoring that well, but I think at this stage of the year there's bigger issues going on to fix up, so I think we just got to stick that with him and hopefully he can turn things around. But he's still scoring 88. It's not bad at the end of the day for a defender. James Sicily, 79. Solid again. Pretty happy with him. Not as big as last week, but you can't expect that every week, and he's been a great pick so far, so happy with James Sicily. Then we got George Hewitt, 85. He's been a revelation for Carlton. Played fantastically against the Dogs on Thursday night. It's just that his kick to handball ratio is a little bit of a concern. He had about 5 kicks and 27 handballs, so if he fixed that up, he'd be scoring 100 each week, but 85 as a defender, you can't really complain with him, and he's been a great pick. George Hewitt. And then Daniel Rioli, the guy that I brought in this week, 101, which was fantastic, really. I kind of brought him in expecting 70s or hoping for 70s, but he looked great. He probably played his best game in a long time, 101. Yeah, he was fantastic. Very happy with him, and hopefully he can keep it up. Paddy McCartan, 66. Another great game from him. He basically scores his whole score in +6s. It's great to watch. He had jumped up at the end in that weird 5 minutes after Buddy's 1,000th goal, and probably scored around 18 points in that last 1 minute. So well done, Paddy McCartan. Then onto the bench, Nathan O'Driscoll, 11. Got a game as the medical sub, came in the last quarter, so which is good to see. Shows that he's around the mark, and you wouldn't think it'd be that long before he gets a full-time game. Nathan O'Driscoll and Sam De Koning, who didn't play this week. Hopefully he can find his way back into that Geelong side soon. Then onto the midfield, Jack McRae, 103. Slightly down on last week and a bit disappointing, considering I had the vice-captain on him, so it would have been nice if he could score a bit higher, but yeah, his bad games, Jack McRae, he still managed to ton up, so I don't think we can complain there. He's going to be scoring in excess of 120 most weeks, so I think we just got to cop that 103, still solid enough, Jack McRae. Lockie Neal, my MVP of the week, and doesn't need much explanation there. He was extraordinary, particularly in that second half. 145 from him. Yeah, he's back to his Brownlow form, Lockie Neal, so he's been a fantastic pick for me so far, and yeah, well-deserving MVP of the round, Lockie Neal. Then we had Caleb Sarong, 60, just incredibly frustrating, and he's just been a terrible pick on my behalf, really. I thought, judging by his back end of last year, he was set up for a bit of a breakout season this year, but looks like I've gone 1 year too early on him, to be honest. And yeah, he'll go for me this week, barring any significant carnage. And yeah, I've got to fix that up urgently. I can't have a midfielder in that position averaging 60 for me. So yeah, just been incredibly frustrating. Carbs are wrong. Then we have Patrick Cripps, 123. Boy, does he look fantastic. Another huge game from Patrick Cripps. He's back to his best now, it's safe to say. He's injury free, and Carlton as a whole are looking amazing. So he's been an awesome pick, Patrick Cripps, and very, very pleased with him, and hopefully he can keep it up. Then we got Jai Caldwell, 58. Well, a bit annoying, but he still looked good. He just didn't get that midfield time, that centre bounces at Essendon. But with the news of Zach Merritt being out for an extended time with that syndesmosis injury now, he should definitely get that midfield time now, Jai Caldwell, and I think he really has the potential to be that Darcy Parish 2.0 of last year. Once he gets into that midfield, he will go massive. So at this stage, I'm probably going to lean towards keeping Jai Caldwell for that reason. Then we got Matt Rowell, 46. I actually didn't see this game, but from what I heard, it sounded like he played a defensive sort of role, like a tagging role in Clayton Oliver. Not too sure. Maybe you guys can help me out on that one. But yeah, that was disappointing to hear. So he's one that actually could be on the chopping block for me this week. I wouldn't have believed I would say that after last week, but yeah, there's a few things I need to fix up this week. So he is on the chopping block, unfortunately, particularly if his role is getting mixed up week by week. Then on to Nick Dacos, 73. He was solid. 73 is a great score from him. No dramas there. And then we have Jason Horne-Francis, who I brought in this week, 78. He was solid, and that's around about his ceiling in terms of fantasy Horne-Francis. But yeah, he's going to be a superstar player, and he's going to play each week for North Melbourne, so he's still got plenty of cash to make and still safe to place in our fields. Then onto the bench, Josh Ward. Really wish I fielded him this week. 85, he looked great, and so did the Hawks. As a collective, their youth is really showing through, and yeah, he's just a ball winner, Josh Ward. So well done to him. Then Connor McDonald, he's another one, 66. He's pretty much locked into that Hawks best 22 now, I would have thought, and yeah, he's looked fantastic, and he's going to be a very serviceable cash cow moving forward. Connor McDonald. So now onto the rucks. Max Gawn, 79. The second straight week, he scored 79, and not much more you can say there. Very disappointing, and maybe Luke Jackson is having more of an impact on Max's scoring than we initially thought. And yeah, in hindsight, I was probably better off not starting with Max and saving that coin when you look at the likes of what Tim English has done to start the year. Yeah, it's amazing to think what that coin could have done. So, look, I'm probably still going to ride it out, but yeah, one more week. And if he's still scoring like this, definitely something to consider there. And then Brody Grundy again, 82 as captain. That probably cost my round overall, really. I thought this week, afternoon game at the MCG against the Crows, set up for him to bounce back, but no, he really just didn't look like it, and yep, that really hurt. So he's another one along with Max to monitor, and yeah, if you want to trade them out, really couldn't blame you at this point. It's been incredibly frustrating. Set and forget rucks, more like set and regret at this stage of the year. But then Hugh Dixon didn't play this week as he was caught up in the Eagles' health and safety protocols, so that was a bit unfortunate. Now to the forwards, Josh Dunkley, 112, really saved his score, and in that last quarter, I think he posted 50 plus in that last term, so yeah, he's a fantastic pick, very reliable as always, Josh Dunkley. Then Adam Treloar, 117. I was thrilled at the time. Friday night, thought he was a bit of a unique pick, and a lot of people have Zach Butters in that position, and never did I thought Zach Butters would outscore him by 20 plus. It was that sort of round, but yeah, Adam Treloar, he looked great and really benefited from Bailey Smith being out of that dog side on Thursday night, so yeah, I was happy with him. Still happy with the pick overall. Then Stephen Cornelio, 98. Look, he's solid enough. Just maybe his ceiling is probably not as high as what it used to be, but yeah, still pretty solid. And he'll be fine. Will Brodie, 109. I think from all reports, his time on ground was horrific again, but there he is, still scoring 109. And with Nat Fyfe out for an extended time now, he's locked into that side. You would have thought, and his scoring potential is just huge. Just got to hope for a bigger time on ground, and his scores are going to go through the roof. So well done to Will Brodie there. He's been an awesome pick. Then Tristan Xerri, 92. He really benefited from Coleman Jones being out of the side. And I think it's safe to say he's that number one North Melbourne ruck this stage. Goldstein's playing more forward. They're really kind of managing him now and putting time into Xerri. So to get him at a kind of rookie price for a number one ruckman is just a spoil, and he should be in our sides for a long while yet. And then Jack Hayes, 61. He was solid again. It's just a bit of a concern for me with Paddy Ryder due to come back in. I'm quite kind of not sold that he's locked into that Saints best 22. As harsh of a decision that will be, I think he is at risk of losing his spot this week, as good as he's been. So that's something to monitor there. Then onto the bench, Josh Rochelle, 69. Having watched that game, he looked really good there, and he seemed to play a significant amount of midfield time in that last quarter, which he scored about 25 points, I think. So, yeah, I think he'll be fine. Especially just getting that midfield time, he should score well, and I'll probably look to field him next week. Then Corey Durden, 22. That was a weird game from him. I think he scored all those points in the second quarter, and for about 3 quarters didn't score anything. So, yeah, small forwards in fantasy, hey? That's what we kind of expect. They're going to be up and down each week. To the utility position, Jackson Mead, 21. He was the sub for Port, and he came on late in that second half, so I thought he was a bit stiff to miss out on a spot in the 22 after his performance last week. I thought it was solid, but yeah, following Port's disappointing performance against the Hawks, maybe, you never know, he might get called back into that 22, so he sits there for now. So there's my team after round 2, 2063. Bit disappointing this week, but overall, I still think my team's okay, and just got a few things to fix up going forward. So now I'll talk through some initial trade plans that I currently have, and at this stage, it's the midfield I think could do with a bit of a restructure here. And when you look at Jai Caldwell, Matt Rowell, and when you have guys like Josh Ward on the bench scoring 85, I think there's an opportunity there to get Josh Ward on the field and downgrade a Caldwell or a Rowell. And at this stage, I'm looking probably to do Matt Rowell, as harsh as it is. I really don't want to get rid of him, but hearing about his defensive sort of role, it's kind of put a bit of doubt in my mind. So at this stage, I'm looking to go Matt Rowell down to Nick Martin, where I swap an Adam Shalor into the midfield to get Nick Martin, who was in health and safety protocols for this round, so missed last week, but he should come straight back in, and he's going to make plenty of coins. So, and then that would allow me to get rid of Caleb Sarong up all the way up to an Andy Brayshaw type, who wasn't he fantastic? 181 he scored. He was one that I wish I could have started, but he just didn't fit my structure going into round 1. So that's how I'm looking at. If it's not Andy Brayshaw, I'm looking at Zach Butters in the forward line. But yeah, it's going to be Caleb Sarong has to go for me this week. He's just been an incredibly poor pick. So that's the way I'm looking at, kind of a bit of a restructure in the midfield. And I think if I get that done, overall my team still looks pretty good, and hopefully I can bounce back and improve that ranking next week. So there you have it. That was my team this week, and if you guys have any questions, you want some thoughts on ideas for trades, hit me up in the comments below. I'm happy to give a second opinion there, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. It would be much appreciated if you could like and subscribe, keep supporting my channel, and yeah, looking forward to round 3. Thanks again for watching, guys, and good luck.